Hello YouTube. Alright, today we're going to be making a video about my main computer for the first time in a while, and it concerns the graphics card. As those of you who saw the build video back last year know, I originally had an Nvidia GTX 550 Ti in this computer, and I thought that was the reason that this board was acting funny. So I bought an AMD card to replace it, and that was the, what was that? That was the Radeon HD 7850, and I have used that ever since. And that was the first time I had used an AMD card since the days of ATI, back when this kind of stuff was common, like this X1300, for example. So I had a little bit of high hopes that AMD had fixed a few of the quirks and bugs along the way. And it's gotten a lot better, I will tell you that. AMD is a lot better since AMD cards and ATI. Basically, since AMD acquired the ATI cards, they've cleaned it up a lot. It's a lot nicer than it used to be. The drivers were even more of a mess back then, from what I recall. Now they're so much better than they used to be. The performance is pretty solid for the most part. Although, I had instability with my particular card, and that was not due to the card itself, that was due to the drivers. And I also had just this, the same issue I had with the ATI cards back in the day happened with this computer, and that is Second Life. I use that to hang out with friends, play board games, you know, basically just to hang out and, you know, goof around with some friends. And relies heavily on OpenGL. And the developers have never really optimized the viewers for AMD and ATI graphics cards. So even back in the day on the old ATI stuff, you'd end up with artifacts that just appear as polygons that can stretch the length of the entire sim, even block your vision. And I was experiencing the same thing I did 5 years ago on these cards again. And that's no fault of AMD. That's Linden Labs, not optimizing the viewer code for AMD and ATI graphics cards. And that's why they've always recommended Nvidia cards for that sort of thing. The odd thing is, I never have these problems and performance issues that with Second Life that on the mobile graphics and the APU setups. It's only on the cards, which I find a little unusual. But other than that, the card performed admirably. It performed very well. And I never really had an issue with it other than some instability sometimes. I've had a blue screen here or there that doesn't happen with Nvidia cards. So I wanted to upgrade anyway because of these quirks that it had with the cards, so I decided to do that. I sold off the 7850, and I put my old 550 Ti back in this machine, as you can see here. I stuck it back in, and this machine has been... the performance in Second Life has gone way up since downgrading to this card, which is kind of sad. I didn't really notice a difference, actually, in the games that I played between the old card and the new one. Really, the performance was about the same because I don't push the card that hard. And this is just a review of what the system is. It's a AMD FX 6300 with 16 gigs of RAM on an AMD 970 chipset board. So there you go. This is what we have to begin with. I will be upgrading today, and judging by the title of the video, you'll know what I'm upgrading to, so let's get started. Alright, and here we have the new graphics card. I've decided to, for once in my life, not get an EVGA Nvidia card and get a Gigabyte one instead. I've seen Max Arcade unbox Gigabyte ones over the years, and I've thought to myself, ooh, that's nice. So not only was this just a better option compared to any of the others out there, in my opinion, for what I need anyway, but hey, it's something new, and I like that. So let's check it out. Well, maybe I shouldn't open it first. Let's actually check out the whole thing. It is a Gigabyte GeForce GTX 750 Ti with 2 gigs of RAM, video RAM. It supports 4K if you use both HDMI ports on the back, and it has the WindForce cooler, which is something I've never experienced before. Since it's a Gigabyte product, you know, they care about hardware quite a bit, so they have the ultra durable 2 stuff going on. Solid caps, MOSFETs that can take a little bit of a surge, and ferrite cores for cleaner power delivery. There you go. And you know, basically ultra durable means they actually care about what hardware that goes into the card, just like they do with their motherboards. And I have a Gigabyte motherboard, so it kind of goes together pretty well. Wow, that card is tiny. Quick reference guide. CD, which I don't need, I'll just download the drivers from the internet. Actually, I think the CD does have the overclocking utility on it, so I wouldn't quite throw it away. I'd at least install the overclocking utility, but other than that, I get the drivers elsewhere. Here's the card itself. It is a lot smaller than I expected. Wow. Just like the 550 Ti, the size has gone considerably down. There we go. Alright, here we have the card. It is a little tiny card. Here's my hand. See, this card is tiny. Very tiny. But quite powerful for what it is. So you can see there's the reinforced cooler on the front with these fans. These fans are known to be pretty quiet. So this should be a quiet card. And that will be a big improvement over the 550 Ti that I have now. And probably over the 7850 as well. That card got a little bit loud when you pushed it. This particular version of the 750 Ti has the power connector on it, so you can overclock it. So it has a little bit more headroom. This design of cooler that Gigabyte has uses really nice, big, thick heat pipes along it. So, yeah, pretty high quality stuff. You can see some solid capacitors under there. Excellent. Comes with a cover on the edge connector there. And there's not much else to show. It's just a nice small card. I'll compare it with the 550 Ti once I grab it out of my machine. Now here's the reason that I ordered this card over any other one. I could have gotten the EVGA one that was overclocked a little bit out of the box, but that had I/O on the back that I didn't really care for. This has 2 DVIs and 2 HDMIs. You couldn't get any more simple than that, and that's the way I like things. Very simple. This has this is DVI with the extra pins for analog, so you can put a VGA adapter on the end. This is another DVI that's digital only, and you get 2 HDMI ports. Now, what's unique about this card is you can use both HDMI ports to support a 4K display. Some people say that's a drawback because you could just use one display port to do that. But for people like me who are complete cheapskates when it comes to monitors, like, let me put it into perspective. The Envision monitor I currently use, that's 1680 by 1050, I got that for $50 plus shipping from a friend. So, and that's used, probably pretty heavily used. So, I'm not one who's going to have a 4K monitor anytime soon. So having these connectors here that are just very simple and easy to get a hold of and standard is an important thing to me. Having 2 DVIs and 2 HDMIs. Those are 2 types of monitor that are very easy to find. So I'll be able to still be a cheapskate when it comes to monitors. And that's one important thing to me. Plus, the card is an upgrade. Plus, whether the card's overclocked out of the box or not, it is still an upgrade from what I have. So I hope this card will keep me going for the next couple of years. I didn't plan to upgrade from the 7850, but I had some issues with it that I wanted corrected, so hopefully this is the last card I have to buy for a couple of years for my computer. But I think I'm going to like this card. It uses a new architecture put out by Nvidia. I'm blanking on the name, but I'll stick it as a subtitle in the video here. The new architecture on these cards is powerful. This is the first card that they put out with that new architecture in it, and it delivers. I've seen footage of Battlefield 4 with this particular card. I don't have the game, so I have to go by someone else's video. And the performance is really nice. The graphics look very good. So, you know, it performs, especially for the money. You wouldn't catch me dead buying a graphics card for $400. That is just insane pricing for any graphics card, in my opinion, because you can buy a whole computer for that. I bought my Asus laptop for $430. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to buy a graphics card for the price I could buy a computer. That's insane. So that's why I went with sort of a mid-range card like this. Now, I saw one video that called this a budget card, and it's a budget gaming card, but it's not a budget card because it's more like a mid-range card. It's right in the middle of performance. If you look at the 500 and 600 Nvidia series, you'll see that there are cards all the way down to like the GeForce 610, 620, 630, 640, 650, 660, 670, 680, blah blah blah. It's right around in the middle, I'd say. But a budget gaming card, I would consider a mid-range card. So, yeah, enough of my rambling on about video cards. Let's actually stick this in the machine. Okay, so here's my old card, the EVGA 550 Ti. Let's stick this new one on top of the old one. They look to be about the same size, maybe a little bit thinner, or a little bit less long, but that's really it. So, cards are getting smaller. A lot smaller, so that's pretty cool. About the same size card. Only this one is much more powerful, so it should last me a good few years. So, let's go stick it in the machine. Alright, the card's in the machine there. Got the wire plugged in. Looks pretty good in there. Took off one of the shields there so I can stick in my monitor cable, and there you go. Yes, I still use DVI, because this is said Envision monitor that I paid $50 for. Yeah. And it's also designed for Windows Vista, so you can tell when it's from. But there you go. I got this in the machine. This machine needs a good cleaning soon. Holy crap, it's really nasty in here. So, come springtime, I'm bringing my machines outside and dusting them out. Because you can see what happens during the winter. You get snow in your computer. Anyhow, I've installed the graphics card, and let's test it out. Okay, the card's installed in the machine, and it's way out of focus. Okay. Turn the computer on and see what happens here. Turn the amplifier on, too. Let's see what Windows does with this card. Beep. There we go. We got a display. That's good. Now, some of you folks might remember an issue I had with this computer in the past where I would soft restart the machine. Like through Windows, I would just hit restart. And 2D mode, or whatever it was, would just refuse to work on the 550 Ti. And when I changed the AMD card, it worked the one time I restarted on video. Well, the funny thing about that is, on the AMD card, it started doing the same thing. So the motherboard I have in this machine just has a bit of character. It doesn't seem to be defective, at least by my judgment, but it just has a bit of character, I guess. All you have to do is hard restart the machine to get into the BIOS or to see 2D mode or anything like that. It makes reinstalling Windows a pain in the ass, but you know what? It works. So the features of the motherboard I still like. So now I don't really have any games that are going to push this graphics card all that hard, so any examples I give you will look pretty much the same as they do on the 550 Ti. Just maybe better texturing and things like that, but I don't have Battlefield 4 or Battlefield 3 or anything like that that pushes this graphics card all that hard. This is really just a future-proofing upgrade for me more than anything else. What I can show you, I suppose, is Skyrim. I don't know how, I've never played that on my old card, so I don't know how it compares, but you know, there you have it. I guess we'll see what happens. One thing that's nice already is that I don't hear vibrating coming from my case anymore. The 550 Ti did that and it drove me crazy because it used a barrel, or actually it doesn't even use a barrel style fan. The fan just happens to vibrate a lot, and it would make a constant type of sound come from my computer case. that got really annoying to me after a while. So this card doesn't do that, which is very nice. It's just the only thing I can hear is the Cooler Master Hyper 212 cooler's fan going up and down, which took me a while to get used to, actually, because it wasn't totally silent like I like my computers. But you know what? It's good enough. So now here's a test. I got to reboot the computer. Let's see if it goes into 2D mode. If this motherboard does that weird quirky thing it usually does with graphics cards. Beep. Yeah, it still doesn't go into 2D mode. I think that's just this motherboard. Yeah, this motherboard has a bit of character, but it's never done anything outrageously bad or shown itself defective, so it's okay. As you see, the monitor won't turn on until the Windows driver is loaded. There it goes. The blue LED in this monitor is dead, so that's why you don't see a power light. There you go. Alright. Your VGR. Warning, your VGA card has been changed. The setting will be restored back to default. Oh, okay. There you go. Back to the full resolution, 1680 by 1050. Let's check out the Windows Experience Index. Even though it's a pointless rating, let's check it out. I got a 7.3 for graphics on both accounts, so let's see how much this improves that. I think the 7.3 was for the 7850, if I remember right. So we'll see what the difference between the 7850 and the 750 Ti is. Let's try it and see what the Windows benchmark says, since I don't really have a better way to do it right now. And that assessment has finished. I just noticed that the CPU benchmark is actually where it should be now, at 7.3 rather than 6.2. Weird. So sometimes I guess this benchmarking is a bit quirky sometimes, but it went on the graphics from a 7.3 to a 7.6, so it was definitely an upgrade from the Radeon 7850. So that's pretty cool. All right, this probably isn't the best test in the world, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to try Grand Theft Auto 4. All right, benchmark test. Now, NVIDIA cards tend to have tearing, unlike AMD ones, but stuff is optimized a little bit better for these cards, my experience over the years. Yeah, I'm seeing no frame drops at all. Looks perfect. As it should on a card as new as this. Like I say, this test is kind of pointless. It doesn't really push the card hard at all, but yeah, I get like 65 frames, which is just above the refresh rate of the monitor. So it's more than good enough for a game like this. Looks like Skyrim by default sets itself to ultra high quality. Nice. Yeah, ultra high quality. There you go. You can select which graphics adapter you want. There you go. It's on default ultra high quality, so let's try it and see what happens here. Oh boy. The graphics I've seen so far look pretty good. There was a picture of a dragon as you first loaded the game. So that looks pretty nice in my opinion. This is looking pretty nice. Look at that. Beautiful. Fog effects.
General Tully is the military governor, and it looks like the Dalmor are with them.
Yeah, it looks pretty good to me. Very smooth. Yeah, everything is quite smooth. I'm not seeing any slowdown at all, really. And this is at ultra high quality. Alright, I got past that stupid dragon, and yeah, things look great. The during the whole thing where I was running away from the dragon. There was no lag at all. It just looked fantastic. So these cards definitely pack a punch. Nothing I have really pushes this card all that much to begin with. But, that being said, this card is powerful and should last me a couple of years. I hope to not rebuild my computer again until maybe 2016, something like that. It may happen a little before, it might happen a little after that, but that's my plan down the road anyways, to keep the system going until about 2016. Basically, I want to keep this going until DDR4 RAM starts to make its way on the scene at a price that's affordable. So, that's my mission here, and I think this card will serve me well in that time. Yep, that concludes the upgrade to this graphics card. It's nothing. There's not a whole lot of difference between the 7850, the 550 Ti, and this one because the games I play are kind of old. So I will start to see the difference when I get games that really push this card, like Grand Theft Auto 5, for example. Probably won't struggle on this card. At least I hope it won't. So whenever that comes out for PC and I get that, it'll be a better test. But right now I can tell that this card's going to last me quite a while. And that has been an upgrade to the 750 Ti, the Gigabyte version, which has an excellent set of I/O in the back, an excellent cooler on it, and has headroom for overclocking if you wish to do so. So overall, I give it excellent so far. So hopefully it gives me a couple of years of a good life. Anyhow, guys, that's an upgrade video for my main computer, and hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one, everybody. Ciao.